Now Johnson, 19 seconds. Johnson over to Ramsey. Letonov gets checked by Ramsey. McClanahan is there. The puck is still loose. 11 seconds. You've got 10 seconds. The countdown going on right now. Morrow up to Schultz. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
All right, Scooter, I don't know what to say about that because every time I watch it, hear it, I get all welled up, man. I get chills up and down my back.
Tough to listen to that without having some kind of emotion.
It is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. Voted the best sporting moment ever in the 20th century. And boy, was it. We have an intern in here who's never had, he's young, but he's going to know about it. So it's the 40th anniversary of the 1980 Olympic gold medal team, and I just am so happy and honored to have my guest on today, the captain of the 1980 gold medal team, Mike Eruzione. What's up, Mike?
What's happening? How you doing?
I'll tell you what, Mike. I don't know how you control yourself because I watched you on ABC with your teammates Mark Johnson and Jim Craig. As you were watching the highlights and talking about it, how you not get all like I well up, I get all emotional. I don't know how you control yourself.
Well, I guess when you live it, it's easy just to sit back and enjoy it.
You know, Mike, in preparation for having you on today, it was amazing to see that what you did the night before the big game. I mean, you were like kicking back with your parents, drinking a couple beers, and then you went back to the Olympic Village, and with your roommates, you had a couple more beers, and you said your nerves were on end, you couldn't sleep. Walk us through that.
Well, I think you got a big game to play, but you can't try to make it too big. You can't get all wound up and nervous and not do what you normally would do. And for me, it was fun to relax with my mom and dad and my high school football coach and my cousin and a bunch of guys in a Winnebago. We, like you said, we had some food and a couple of beers and try to keep it as routine as possible, because if you just sat around your dorm, in our case, the trailer, you'd have been suicidal. So I think, I think you just got to kind of go out and relax and have some fun. It wasn't crazy. We weren't out till, all hours of the night. It was just a nice relaxing evening the night before a big game.
I was going to say, define a couple of beers.
Yeah, trust me, it wasn't many.
Right. Just enough to relax you.
Yeah,
right?
just enough to. Of course, this is a remarkable Cinderella story of a bunch of guys that were brought together by Herb Brooks. What were your impressions of Herb Brooks before you got to camp?
Well, I'd known a little bit about Herb, having played against him when I was in college, but there were a lot of Minnesota guys on the team, almost the whole team, and they had played under Herb. Herb had coached them, so they kind of filled the end. And Herb was really no different than my college hockey coach, Jack Parker. In those years, coaches were demanding and they challenged you, and that's how coaches coached in the 70s. My high school football coach, my high school baseball coach, they were the same type coaches. They were demanding, they pushed you, like I said, they challenged you, and they made you better players. And that's how it was.
We're talking with Mike Eruzione, captain of the gold medal 1980 USA Olympic team. And Mike, talk a little bit about the rivalry between the guys from Boston, BU, and the guys from Minnesota. Was that tough to get along with those guys in the beginning?
No, the rivalry happened when we were in college. We had battles against University of Minnesota. Wisconsin players on our team battled University of Minnesota, and that's just the way it was. You had rivalries. You had battles. We had them in the NCAA tournament. Wisconsin and Minnesota had battles all year playing against each other. But once the team was picked, once we were set, we put on a USA jersey. We didn't put a Boston University jersey on a Minnesota jersey or Wisconsin or Bowling Green or North Dakota, wherever the guys were from. And you represent your country. You put a USA jersey on, and we became a team right from the beginning. I think you learn that as a hockey player, how important your teammates are. And that was something we understood and realized. And even 40 years later, we still have that bond and friendship that we've always had.
That's outstanding. Mike, talk to us a little bit about the movie itself. How accurate is that? Does that really portray how things really were? Are you happy with the way that movie turned out, and how accurate is it with respect to how you guys were as teammates, how you guys responded to Herb Brooks?
I thought it was fairly accurate. I mean, there were a couple of Hollywood scenes here and there, but I tell people all the time that movie's really the Herb Brooks story, and we're a part of it. I think the HBO documentary is the one that I think is spectacular. Although, like I said, I did like the movie. Kurt Russell was amazing as Herb, although a lot friendlier. He was a little friendlier in the movie. But I think they captured what the moment was and what the moment meant, not only to us as a team, but to a country as well.
Hey, Mike, it's Scotty McKay here too. I've been coaching ice hockey for 25 years, and as coaches, we always talk to our kids about the life lessons that they're gaining from all this stuff. It's obviously it's about hockey, but it's about really preparing them for the future in life. What do you think? And we're trying to ask some different questions that your typical get. What do you think is your greatest life lesson that you learned from either Herb Brooks or the experience of Miracle of that?
I just think that the ability to understand if you want to be successful, you got to work hard. And it's to me, it's that simple. I hate to try to add this, and this, but you got to come and you got to work hard. Whether it's you're a hockey player or the business that you work in. My dad always said, if you learn the value of work, you'll be successful. And I think I saw that on all of my coaches who challenged us and pushed us and made us work hard. And you usually are going to get pretty good success out of that. I think the other thing I learned was about trust and respect. You got to trust people. You got to respect people. As demanding as my coaches were, the two qualities that all of them had was trust and respect. We respected them and we trusted them. If you don't trust your coach, if you don't trust your friends, if you don't respect your coach, if you don't respect your friends, you're not going to be successful. And I think those are qualities that I think I learned along the way is values of hard work and trust and respect.
We're talking with Mike Eruzione, captain of the 1980 gold medal hockey team that beat the Russians, the Soviet Union. For such that crowd, how big that stadium only held about, 8,000 people. And to hear it seemed like there was like 30,000 people in that building that night.
Well, everybody I've met over 40 years has been at that game, so I think there were 100,000 in the stands.
Hey, Mike, every coach has a great, they say something I know. Like Fred Shiro said, you win tonight, you walk together forever for the 73-74 Flyers. And Herb Brooks said, you guys were born to be a player. You were meant to be here. This is your moment. Did that resonate with you? Or it was just as like a regular speech that you heard at the time?
Yeah, I don't know. You're so focused on the game and getting ready, but, obviously you got a little out of it at that time, but I think you got more out of it after. When I hear those words now, you can really put it into place. And Herb was right. I guess we were born to be players, and we were meant to be there. And it was our moment because nobody else gave us a hope in hell of winning. So I think at the time, it was great words to send you out onto the ice to play a big game. But I think it resonated more with me after than it did right at the time.
Well, it's funny you say that, Mike, because I get texts from my kids 3 years after they leave, and they go, "Hey, I get what you meant now," and we were hoping they got it at the moment, but, sometimes it takes a little longer. But I'm thinking, it's a group of young guys. They've always talked about playing the Soviets, who were a group of men at that time. And I'm thinking you guys weren't really politically influenced in that part of that time of your life. And to you, it was probably, in my opinion, being a hockey player and a coach, it was more of a game for you. When did you realize what the life-changing impact this game had?
That win had on America.
Right.
I think when we got out after the Olympic Games, we knew people in Lake Placid were excited. We knew our family and friends were excited, but no clue that the world or the country was watching the way they were. And I think after we beat Finland, Monday morning, we went to the White House. President Carter sent Air Force One to pick up the Olympians.
No way.
And when we got to Washington, the streets were lined with people waving flags, holding up signs, and it was like, wow, this thing was a big deal. And then, then I got out into the country and started traveling and doing a variety of different things and found out that this thing was this thing was pretty big. And I guess now 40 years later, we still think this thing is pretty big. And I know, it's not on the tip of people's tongues, and they're not talking about it every day. But when you have, celebrations like we had over the weekend, the 40th anniversary, and the joy that the Vegas Knights did a spectacular job of honoring our team, and the reaction from their fans and the crowd was spectacular. And again, it makes you realize that this was more than a hockey game for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons.
Absolutely. I got another little short, quick question here. Was there a reaction, and if it was, how happy was everybody when Tikhonov pulled Tretiak after the first period?
You know what? It was never really talked about. I always tell people, you take out Tretiak and you put in Michigan. Michigan was the goalie that played when the Soviets beat the NHL All-Stars 6-0.
6-0.
So that, I take that's like taking out Marty Brodeur and putting in Patrick Roy.
Right.
But the thing with us was so Tretiak's not playing. We were never concerned about what other teams were doing. Herb said it throughout the Olympic Games was play your game, play your game.
Play your game.
We couldn't worry about what other teams were doing. If we had a way we wanted to play and the way we were playing throughout the Olympic Games, so why change just because they changed their goaltender? The game went the way we needed it to go. It was a one-goal game throughout the game. If the Soviets scored 5 goals, we weren't scoring 6. I mean, we knew that. But the game, the way it was played, and the fact that they scored 3, we could get 4. Maybe we could have got 5. But regardless of who they were playing, we needed to do the things that we needed to do in order to win.
We're talking with Mike Eruzione, captain of the United States gold medal winning team against the Soviets in 1980. And, Mike, today's game, you see a lot of chirping, a lot of talking on the ice, in the NHL and whatnot. Was there that? I mean, obviously there's a language barrier, but was there a lot of chirping going on? And then what was the handshake like after the game was over?
Well, there was no discussions on the ice. There was no chirping. There was no talking. And the handshakes after, looked like some were in disbelief that they had lost. We were so excited and just we just went through the line shaking hands. I didn't really look at a lot of faces. I just wanted to get back in the locker room.
Well, Mike, I got to tell you, I worked at U.S. Airways for 24 years, and we had a hockey league. It was U.S. Air Philadelphia, U.S. Air Pittsburgh, U.S. Air Boston, and U.S. Air Buffalo. And I'll never forget, man, flying to Boston to play the U.S. Air team up there. We played at your rink in Winthrop. It was like a cold, coastal town, and when we walked in and we saw your name, I can't tell you what it did for our team. We're playing at the rink where Mike Eruzione played. It was great, and I'll never forget it, Mike.
Well, that's funny because I tell a story. I have 5 grandkids now, and 3 of my grandsons, they're 7, 6, and 5, and they skate at the Mike Eruzione rink. But they don't know who Mike Eruzione is.
That's great.
Well, listen, Mike, man, I just got to say thank you so much for being on the program with us. I really am honored and humbled to talk with you, and just such great memories. And thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys. Have a good day.
All right, Mike, you too.
There's Mike Eruzione, captain of the gold medal team, and I'll tell you what, I'm just
tremendous.
It's just unbelievable.
Tremendous. I could have talked to him for 3 hours.
Yeah, I wish we had more time.